Hi and welcome. It's day 9 of NanoWrimo. And yeah, I'm still waiting to get some information about my lost data. If you watched yesterday's video, you know what I'm talking about. Nevertheless, kept on writing, and today something funny happened. I sat down at 7:20 in the morning, started writing, and I promised myself to write for 90 minutes and then stop. So after 90 minutes, I stopped, counted the words, and it was exactly 1,667 words. Isn't that funny? So that was quite a good start for the day. And during this writing process, something showed up I wanted to discuss today. And that was my main character. Her name is Karen. She was married once and then divorced and now lives alone. And I don't tell you more about the story. But all of a sudden, while writing and having great ideas and trying to like build her character, I realized I'm losing track of time. So this is a lack of structure, right? I didn't remember, hold on, which year was she married? Because if you look back in the timeline and she thinks about stuff, you should know, right? When did she meet her husband? When did they get married? When did they get divorced? So you cannot, in the whole story, right? At one point, they've been married for 15 years, and on another point, the reader gets, hey, that doesn't come together. There's something wrong. So you have to be clear about timelines. I wasn't. Structure problem. That can happen. So what do you do when you realize during the writing process that you have a lack of structure? It can happen the way it happened to me. You get confused with the timeline. It may happen that you get confused with where which part of your novel takes place. And as we are in a NanoWrimo process and we want to like write on an everyday basis, we want to produce text, good text. You shouldn't spend too much time with restructuring, but you have to do it urgently if you are on a point like that. Otherwise, you're losing it. You're losing your timeline, your storyline. So what I did then was I just had a little piece of paper here, like with a shopping list on it. And I wrote down quickly, okay, how old is she now? She's been not in a partnership for the last 10 years. So how old has she been there? Which year was there? Back, how many years married? Back, when did they meet? So I made a little list. And this helped a lot. Now it's here next to my computer. Whenever I have a problem with that timeline, I take a look back. Normally, of course, you should produce something like this before you start writing. But honestly, we cannot think of everything. Why? Because our characters tend to get to life. And sometimes then they do what they want. So the story then is not written by you, but written by your characters. Sometimes for newborn authors, this is quite a scary process. So I had one student once who gave me his story outline, the rough story outline, and then he sent chapters so I could give him feedback. And one day he wrote an email and said, there is a character. I wrote that character just like for one scene. But all of a sudden, this character is getting stronger and stronger. It's pushing its way inside the story. It wants to be written. And he was confused. And I said, isn't that the best thing that can happen? that a character shows up who wants to be written. And you have to think about that character. You cannot stop. Oh, wow. Then you are in a writing flow. That is amazing. But next to that, sometimes characters like that destroy your original story outline, destroy your timeline, destroy your structure. And then you have to restructure. My best tip for today is, if this happens to you, grab a piece of paper and write down your rough story outline, structure, timeline, wherever you feel there is a lack of structure, and then correct it. Don't spend too much time on it. You don't have to pick your original structuring plans and like do it all over again. Help yourself with quick help so you can hop back to the writing process soon. This is my best tip for today. And of course, I'm very excited what you tell us in the comments about your story, your characters, and if this happened to you. See you tomorrow. Happy writing.